Hello and welcome. Let's talk business now. I'm Maha Siddiqui. Markets snapped 5 days of gains to end on a flat note post a volatile session. Non-banking financial companies and private banks declined while fast-moving consumer goods and auto sector rose. Hiral Dadia with the wrap of all the market action. Hiral?
A day of consolidation is what we've seen in terms of the markets, and little bit of volatility that did exist. However, Sensex and Nifty have ended pretty much flat. If you see Nifty, we anticipated it will maintain those 19,400 levels, but it's ended just a couple of points below that number. And if you see in terms of the Sensex as well, an interesting move on that front, and the Sensex has also ended with cuts, but it's able to maintain that 65,400 mark in trade today. Overall, stocks that contributed to losses on the Sensex, it was mainly the HDFC twins, Axis Bank as well as the Bajaj twins, whereas stocks that came to the rescue were ICICI Bank, ITC as well as HUL. Overall, if you see, it was the auto FMCG as the PSU banking space that actually saw some smart moves, and you had the FMCG as well as the mid-cap 100 index which actually hit record high levels in today's session. From the broader markets, you had the mid-cap index which saw gains of around 0.7%, whereas the small-cap index which saw gains of around 0.6%. Bajaj Auto, one of the top gainers after Triumph Speed 400 launch. Divi's Laboratories was another one. Hero Moto has continued the run, and you have HDFC Life also saw some smart gains. Maruti, on unveiling of the Invicto, saw some smart moves in today's session. On the losing end, HDFC twins are seeing profit booking after the kind of run-up that we've seen, as well as if you see on the F&O side, a lot of positions that are being squared off. Eicher Motors has been bearing the brunt with regards on the cost of Hero Moto as well as Bajaj Auto, whereas Tata Consumer and UPL were also under pressure. ITC hit an all-time high in today's session from the newsmakers. KPI, on the back of an order win, saw some smart moves. GR Infra Projects also on the back of the agreement concession pact with NHAI saw some smart moves. Chennai Petro was and MRPL saw some good moves in today's session. Motherson Sumi, on the back of an acquisition and positive brokerage notes, was up in trade. Suzlon is considering fundraising, though the stock was under pressure. In fact, the stock has moved up almost 60% in the last 1 month. And you have IndusInd Bank and Bandhan Bank that reacted to their quarterly updates overall. So clearly, a day of stock-specific action is what we are seeing. There is consolidation in the markets, but support levels are being met so far. So clearly, volatility is there, but a flat move is what we've seen. Back to you.
All right, many thanks, Hiral. Let's now move on to the other story that we are tracking. With the aim of reducing its carbon intensity, India is fast moving towards renewable energy. Bearing private equities, Rahul Bhasin gives us an outlook of India's transition to green energy. He also mentions that tech disruptions India may face in the sector in the next 20 to 30 years. Listen in.
I think the energy transition is for real. It's happening around the world. In India, the government has been very focused on enabling and facilitating it. So probably the pace has been a little higher. We were always an energy deficit country. So, we needed that much of incremental capacity. Incentivizing it to go down the green route is a policy decision that the government has taken. And we will see more and more of that infrastructure built that way. You're also seeing a lot of technology disruption, and you will see over the next 20, 30 years, even in energy. Yes, the movement from internal combustion engines to EV is a big theme, and we've played that value chain, including in the recycling part of it, with companies like Loham, etc., very successfully. But if you look at the entire value chain around the world, I think that there's a degree of maturity in fusion and fusion-based technologies, which probably might get commercialized in the next 10, 20 years. There are technologies to capture energy out of humidity. But if you look at just plain solar and wind and the cost of the economics of that, the way that the cost has been declining and the ability to capture a higher and higher percentage of the solar energy. So the improvement in the cell technology and the decline in costs together, couple that with declining costs of battery technology and therefore storage and stabilization, I think that, the path forward, I think the first phase will get much more solar with some amount of wind thrown in. and at a later stage, these other technologies will also kick in.
Well, though the markets have rallied in the past few days, investors can still find some pockets to get benchmark-beating returns. Sage One Investments Samit Vartak says that investors have to find those pockets where valuations are attractive.
New positions that you add, that's where you need to be a little more contrarian. You can take your time to build those, that position. But, that's where you have the opportunity. If you keep on adding the flavored stock, where everyone likes them, that will definitely not be adding any alpha, especially if you are a little late to the party. You need to be maybe a little early to the party and build your position slowly. But that's where you can, make outsized returns. I mean, for multi-bagger returns, you need three ingredients, right? One is low valuation starting point. Second is high earnings growth. And third is basically re-rating of the multiples, where you expect that multiple definitely is not going to depreciate. It's going to, improve going forward. So there has to be re-rating of multiples. And I have seen, in my last 11 years of history, all the multi-baggers, I don't remember a single multi-bagger where the starting P multiple was, 30 times or 35 times. Most of the time it has been closer to the single digit. The cycle has repeated every 3 years. The peak of small cap index has repeated every 3 years. So whether you look at, 2005, 2008, 2011, 2014, 15, then 2018, 2021, next peaks would be somewhere, in the 2024-25 period.
Let's move on now. HDFC and HDFC Bank merged on the 1st of July and the advances of the combined entity have risen 13% year on year as of June 30th. The HDFC twins aggregate deposits also saw a growth of 16.2% year on year. BQ Prime's Smriti Chaudhary is here with more details. Smriti.
After the mega merger of HDFC Limited with HDFC Bank, the merged entity has come out with its first quarter update. Let's look at the provisional numbers reported by the world's fourth largest lender by market capitalization. The combined advances rose 13% from previous fiscal to 22.45 lakh crore as of June 30th. Its gross advances removing HDFC Limited's wholesale book is up 15% year on year to 21.36 lakh crore. Let's look at the deposits now. The rural deposits rose nearly 16% to 20.63 lakh crore and the merged entity's average liquidity coverage ratio stood at 120%. On a standalone basis, HDFC Bank's total deposits stood at 19.13 lakh crore, up about 19% year on year. For the bank, the current account and savings account ratio stood at 42.5% of total deposits compared to 45.8% a year ago. While the merger was announced in April 2022, the effective date for the same was July 1. However, the record date for delisting of HDFC shares from the exchanges is set for July 13. After that, the company's shareholders will receive 42 shares of the bank for every 25 shares of HDFC Limited. Over to you.
Many thanks, Smriti. Let's move on now. New launches galore in the world of motorcycles after Hero and Harley-Davidson's latest offering. Triumph, in association with Bajaj, has launched its first single-cylinder motorcycle in India. Bajaj Auto's MD Rajiv Bajaj sheds more light on the new launches.
What are the volumes that you're targeting this year, both from the production front as well as from the sales front? And when will the dealership expand to a total of 120 that we have talked about in the past? Thank you.
Okay, so I'll take the capacity question. So Triumph will be made at our new plant in Chakan that we call Chakan 2. We have an installed capacity as of now for 25,000 motorcycles a month. That includes both KTM and Triumph motorcycles. Of which right now the short answer would be that our capacity for Triumph is 5,000. Now that doesn't mean that in this month, as Sumit said, we are going to start already distributing, but obviously in the first month we cannot make 5,000, so it will take some time to ramp up. We can't say exactly when, maybe 3 months or 4 months. And after that, If we have to expand further, then, we watch the demand and we adapt to that. Because as you can imagine, the most of the facilities, the assembly or the painting, etc., is common. It doesn't matter whether you're making a Triumph or a KTM. So it is not difficult to scale up from there. I will let Nick share his thoughts on volumes or exports, etc.
Well, that's it then on Let's Talk Business. Taking a quick break now. Stay with us.